Hello everybody and welcome once again to the Domino Theory television program. My name is Gil Francis and I will be your host. You are viewing us, I hope, on channel 29 or 76 from San Francisco, California. We can also be seen on YouTube at youtube.com/SFDOMINOCLUB or of course on Facebook at Facebook/SFDOMINOCLUB or Gilbert Francis. There's been quite a bit happening since the last time we aired a broadcast, but that was due to illnesses and circumstances. But anyway, we're back now, and I wanted to call your attention to what happened recently here in San Francisco in terms of the demonstrations that were going on. You know, in the 60s, I was a member of the Black Panther Party, and Eldridge Cleaver and Huey Newton and the people that were involved in the party at the time had a vision of things changing, and the only way that they thought things could change, or they knew that things could change, was through the actions of the white middle class. And this is, I think, what we're seeing now, is that we have a middle class that is being squeezed out, and as a result of that, they are standing up and saying, we're tired and we've had enough. This present administration has been talked about time and time again, and I don't know if we call him the Teflon Don or not, but he continues to say stuff or things that are very offensive to segments of our society, and it seems okay with everybody that he continues to do this. I've also noticed that he has surrounded himself with military people, which I guess is okay if you're planning a coup, but I would think that civilian authority rules in this country as a democracy. But we'll see what happens. We are presently involved in numerous wars, and you know, you can only do so much. I think our arsenal, our nuclear weapons arsenal is I don't know if anybody on the planet has the equivalent, but maybe China, but that's questionable also. So we find ourselves in the process of continuously building these weapons of mass destruction, when actually, if you deal with reality and process this whole thing, it only takes one nuclear weapon to destroy this entire planet. And that's the facts. So with the nuclear weapons that we have on this planet, if one goes off and there's a chain reaction, we can all just sort of, forget about it. And that might not be such a bad thing, but in the meantime, while we are still living, we need to embrace each other and live together, not necessarily in peace and harmony, but just live together. And I think that'll take us well into the next millennium, if there is going to be a next millennium. News, I just heard on TV, the young man over in North Korea has just fired another missile, but this missile went over Japan, over the top of Japan, and of course Japan was very nervous because there's this missile coming at them, and all kinds of things were put in place. We haven't reacted to that yet, but I did hear Mr. Trump say that if North Korea continued to do what they were doing, that they would have to pay a price, something like burning, flashing, something like that. But anyway, they did. So we'll see what our president's reaction is to that latest ballistic development in North Korea. This is the Domino Theory television program, and we've been broadcasting to you from Channel 29 and 76 for about the last, I guess, 6 or 7 years now. I would like to call it 7, but I don't want to age myself. My name, of course, is Gil Francis, and I am your host. The other thing I want to call your attention to is the United States Constitution of the United States. And I find the most interesting reading in this book, this little pamphlet, is the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution. If you ever get a chance and you have some time on your hands, I suggest that you read these amendments to the Constitution and become more aware of what is actually going on or what has been going on over the years. We are presently embroiled in a conflict over statues and tributes to people who were slave owners. Well, everybody was a slave owner, so I don't quite understand the whole concept of taking down these statues, because if you did, you'd have to change the names on just about 1 million streets in the country. You'd have to take down numerous statues, which I'm not adverse to, but it just seems that it's kind of hypocritical to point out a few people who did it when the whole country was based upon it. It was founded upon slavery. And if you Google that and read your facts and read your history, that's why history is so important, I think, because it has been said that if you don't know where you came from, you certainly don't know where you're going, where you're headed. So for you younger people especially, you need to get up on your history, especially your United States history, because this has been embroiled in all kinds of, I would say, not too wholesome activities. We have some stuff to show you, and I think you'll enjoy it. We're going to take a tour of the new Booker T. Washington Center. Booker T. Washington, in case you don't know, was a freed slave. His parents were slaves, and he was an educator back in the day, and he founded Tuskegee Institute. Booker T. Washington was a very astute man. The center, which is located up on Presidio here in San Francisco, has been in existence, oh man, for umpteen years. There used to be dances up there and all kinds of good stuff. But it came to fruition that it would become a home for foster children. And the way that that was accomplished was that they built apartments adjacent to the administrative offices and also a beautiful state-of-the-art gym for recreation purposes. So, with that said, the building is going to be dedicated, I think, on September the 9th, and it really is a wonderful thing. I'm going to show you some pictures. Mr. Mel Simmons took me on a tour and showed me around the place. Beautiful, and it's small, but yeah, we're talking about foster kids that were on the streets, sleeping in cars and sleeping in the streets, basically. So now we don't have a place for all of those children or young adults, but this is a start, and I am so proud of Ms. Pat Scott, who is the director up at the B.T. Washington Center. So with that said, I will be back. Also got some music for you, some other things. You know how we do it. So anyway, Thank you.
And was hailed as the first self-made female millionaire, black or white. Fueled in part by the hardships of Jim Crow, these success stories were a byproduct of a system of laws that forced black people to live in their own world. Necessity became the mother of invention. African Americans made a way out of no way.
Our people didn't give up. You know, they didn't say, we're overwhelmed and overcome and therefore we'll just turn on ourselves. They looked to their own institutions, their churches. Out of those churches, they will build schools, they will build insurance companies, they will build banks. It's just amazing, all that is happening.
While black land ownership was on the rise, and a small black middle class was emerging, another, more sinister phenomenon was taking root to counteract these gains. And in those days, it took little more than a trip to the mailbox to see it.
This is our row of caricatures. The Pickaninny, the Tom, the Coon, the Tragic Mulatto, the Jezebel, the Savage. All groups, all racial and ethnic groups in this country have been caricatured. None of them has been caricatured as often or in as many ways as have Africans and their American descendants.
David Pilgrim is the founder of the Jim Crow Museum at Ferris State University in Michigan, home to the largest collection of racist memorabilia in the country.
You can take any piece that you see in here, and they do two things. The first thing is they reflect existing attitudes toward black people. But the other thing, and maybe more important, is they shaped future attitudes toward black people.
The redefinition of the African American takes place in this period of time. The African American in antebellum times was, the stereotype held, reliable, faithful, hardworking, malleable. Indeed, one entrusted one's children, one's property to such people. Now, of a sudden, the African American becomes demonized, a threat, a lascivious beast roaming the countryside of the South. People loosed by the end of slavery and now upon us like locusts. Well, this was an absurdity.
A massive propaganda campaign demeaning African Americans and legitimizing violence against them was fundamental to reinforcing Jim Crow.
And that is one of the most vulgar depictions of African American children that we have in here.
Well, they're not human, they're bait.
That's right.
They look like a litter. This is a postcard?
Yeah, that was a postcard. Actually, what that one says is, "Dear Aunt Libby, this is what they do to the bad people in Delaware." And the significance here is that it shows a black person being beaten matter-of-fact way. It's the normalizing of violence against blacks.
And look at this kid's face.
Not only does that teach something about violence against blacks in this case, but it's also teaching him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, translates no matter what. We're always trying to find a way to live in peace, except for a few assholes on the There it is. Cañón
can see we're at, well, I don't know if you can see it or not, but anyway, we're at 800 Presidio Avenue in San Francisco, California. This is the site of the new Booker T. Washington Community Service Center and John Burton Foundation Housing Complex. This is a beautiful facility, and the Booker T. Center has been around for umpteen years. I recall when I came to San Francisco back in '57 as a young man. There were dances and all kinds of stuff that used to go on up here, but it didn't look quite like this. Anyway, this is going to be a housing complex along with the facilities that enable young people to come off the streets and get themselves together, and we hope that it is certainly a success. A lot of effort went into this building, and there were quite a few meetings that took place. But anyway, it's here, and I do believe it's going to be opening in September. But anyway, we're going to go inside and where there's less wind and talk with Mr. Mel Simmons here at the Booker T. Washington Community Service Center and John Burton Foundation Housing Complex in San Francisco, California. With Mel Simmons, youth counselor here at the Booker T. Center, Booker T. Washington Community Service Center at 800 Presidio. Now, this building is under construction, but Mr. Simmons is going to give us a little breakdown of what we're looking at. What's happening here, Mel?
Well, like I stated, the first floor will be Booker T. Service.
Okay.
And then some. You know, we have not only school support, you know, family support, we also will be providing youth radio. We have a youth radio program here.
Oh, great.
We have, you know, we've always had the computer classes and what have you. What has been added is the youth radio that I'm excited about. So that's the ground floor.
Okay, so now these kids, when you say youth radio, are they going to be able to broadcast over down there on that station?
Will.
Okay.
Yes, they will.
Okay.
So, like I said, you know, to have access to that as a tool to, you know, whatever purposes you want to use it for, but to be a collaboration with youth radio over in Oakland.
Oh, great.
I have to let me say this, and I want to look at the camera and say this. You know, Pat Scott, I call her Rosa Parks. Some people call her Sojourner Truth, but Pat Scott did this.
I can imagine they call a lot of other things.
Don't take no shit. Pat Scott.
I love it.
Pat Scott did this.
Okay.
And like I said, you know, as old as I am, every morning, this is the God's truth. I get up, I got a place to go to, something to do, because I'm so proud to be associated with this place.
Great.
It's black.
Yeah, that's great.
It's black.
That's great.
I love this place, you know what I mean? And I want to say again, thank you, Pat Scott.
Okay, Ms. Scott is going to give us an interview later.
Yes,
hopefully. I was here when they were going through the meetings to get this all together, and it was quite a challenge, to say the least. Anyway, first floor is for offices and
the existing services that we provide for parents, families, period.
Right, and then go up to the second floor.
Second floor, like I said, second floor on this side of the street, which is Presidio, you have the gym. And
that would be that building right there. Okay.
And then they have a private entrance that will lead to the foster kids spaces.
Okay, so now foster kids are going to have housing, and that housing is located on the Sutter Street side, and it's up on the, I think, third level.
And
so,
let me say this about the housing,
man.
You know, all of the young people that I know of got a place to live. Got a place. Kids that we met and we know of, not young kids, you know, they're young adults now who wanted to move out wherever they were living or didn't have a place. They got a place. And I don't know about you, like I said, I remember when I first got my first place, I was grown. I got my first apartment. I slept on the floor that day, but when I first got my first apartment, moved out of my parents' house, there was no feeling like it. and these kids who are struggling, and you really have a difficult time nowadays. I'm a witness that these kids have a place to live, a place to stay. That's
Sounds
theirs.
good. That's
They're
fantastic.
grown now.
That is fantastic.
Wait till P&G sent that bill.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is it, man. This is a black thing, and
Exactly.
we're trying to get the kids together. We're giving them a hand up. We can't do very much more. We need your support from the community to help us to help them. So if anything that you can do to
Come to Booker T.
Come to the Booker T Center and check it out for yourself and see what is happening. A lot of you old timers, we're going to be trying to get to talk to some of the older people that have been here over the years and find out what they think about this new project and how they see it and the implications on the community at large and the community, the immediate community in this area.
And let me say this. We would like to put a shout out for those who came to Booker T back in the day. What were your experiences? And what was your purpose when you came to Booker T back in the day? We want those stories.
How can they get in touch with you, Mel?
With me, like I said, my number is 415-756-1796. And then I can lead you to folks like yourself who's handling that part of it. But call us and, like I said, we'll reach out to you. But we want to hear your story. That's our project that's my contribution to is collecting those stories. What was it like back in the day?
Okay, we're on a hunt. We're looking for those people from the past, like a blast from the past, to bring us up to the future.
Exactly.
All right, Mel. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to the Domino Theory television program. My name, of course, is Gil Francis. Some people call me Sonny. Some people call me other things. Anyway, we're at the Booker T Center, Washington, Booker T. Washington Community Service Center, located at 800 Presidio. And I'm going to take a tour with Mr. Mel Simmons of the building. It's under construction, but we're going to show you some of the things that are going on. First time I've worked. I had a hard head, but anyway, we'll get back to you. Thank you very much.
Nigel Oliphant.
Mr. Nigel Oliphant, go ahead, Mel.
And like I was saying, what are you interested in doing?
I am interested in doing construction management.
And what program or what led you to this particular job? Fisher. So this something Fisher introduced?
Yes. My dad taught to fishing, and they said I could have a summer internship at one of their sites.
Are you serious about it?
Yes.
What grade are you in?
I am going into my junior year.
Okay, where are you going to school?
Berkeley High School.
Okay, very good, very good. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I'm Mel Simmons. Nice meeting you again. And do what you got to do. I want to see you. Yeah. You're going to do majority in the Bay Area?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, very good, Nigel. Take care.
Yeah.
Have a good one. Okay, this is the new gym here at the Booker T. Washington Community Center. And the noise that you hear are the jackhammers that are going off because this floor hasn't even been constructed yet, but we're going to go upstairs and get some more shots of the gym, hopefully. Our tour guide is Mr. Mel Simmons, who is a youth counselor here at the facility. So we'll get right back. Okay, I'm back with Mr. Mel Simmons, who's a youth counselor here at the Booker T. Washington Community Service Center, located at 800 Presidio in San Francisco. Mr. Simmons is showing us around the building. We've been given a grand tour. This is the second floor, Mel?
This is second floor, yes.
And this is a mural that
Lucasfilm financed and organized to build, not only do the mural in one day, you haven't reached it yet, but they built the kids a playground. They had over 150 people in one day. They built a playground for the kids.
And where would that be located?
We're going to go to that.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it's not second time. I haven't seen it yet myself, but I know it's completed.
So it is part of this facility?
Yeah, that is part of this Lucasfilm's activity with, Booker T.
So are they going to come in and do some filmmaking and help these kids out with
I don't know that, but the relationship is there.
I don't see why not. I don't see why not.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's good. And you wanted me to get your button right here.
Please do.
And this is a button of Booker T. Washington. Now, I had a clip of a mural which is located outside, which it has the same picture. But these are buttons, and will you tell us about these buttons now?
Oh, yes. This was done by the kids. I keep calling them kids, but they're young people that created this button. And you can get them for $5. You know, it's a fundraiser for the youth, young girls program. And I love it. You know what I mean?
And you got to get up here because these people have all kinds of fundraisers going on, and they're self-sufficient. They're not part of Park and Rec. They're doing things to help themselves, and we need community participation and support.
Exactly.
So we'd appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Mel. We're going to continue our tour, and we'll get back to you. Okay, now these are the apartments which the young people will be residents. So how large are these?
That I don't know because this is my first time. We can go in and give a rough idea and look at them.
Okay, all right. Yeah. This looks awfully nice. The hall does anyway. So we'll see what happens. I noticed the name of the local developer, John Stewart, outside. So I assume that they assisted in the construction. Yeah, this is the bathroom. See if we get a little light in here. See. Nope. Yeah, there's some light there. Okay, this is the bathroom area. And we're at the Booker T. Washington Community Service Center, which is located up at 800 Presidio. And we're taking a tour of the new construction that's going on up here. These are apartments for the foster kids, basically, that have been renovated, not renovated, but built. The building was renovated, and these apartments have been a new addition. They're not very large, but just think about it. You're a foster kid, you're in the streets, and you got a chance to have your own place, and I think this is just absolutely wonderful. They have a stove, so that means young folks also have a microwave. I can just about figure out what the choice would be there between the microwave and the stove. But anyway, it's up to them. I would want to learn how to cook, of course. This is closet space. And this window you have a view of San Francisco. This is what they'll get a chance to look at. Fantastic. I think that's $1 million view right there.
Tell me about it.
And this is, of course, our tour guide, Mr. Mel Simmons. Mel, this is a fantastic place. I think this is, man, I don't know what to say. I was here when they were going through the motions of trying to get this together. There were objections from the community. There were all kinds of obstacles that had to be overcome. And like you say, a strong, very strong lady by the name of Pat Scott stuck with it, and she saw it through. And this is the fruition of her efforts. What do you think?
Like I said, this is the small ones. Like I said, we'll go and visit all of them, but it's, it has materialized.
Right,
Again, like I said, there was obstacles in the way with the dream.
Right.
Couldn't even have a dream.
Right.
But it's here now.
You
know what I mean? Yeah. We have the building. The building's supposed to be completed in about another month. But it's up. It's up.
Right.
I don't care what you say. The building exists.
Okay. That's it. Here at 800 Presidio, a beautiful place. Fantastic. Okay, now we're broadcasting from the Booker T Center up here on Presidio, and this is the top floor. As you can tell by my breathing, we just came up the stair. And this is one of the larger apartments, you say?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Simmons is our tour guide. He's also a youth counselor here at the Booker T Center. So this one has a bedroom, and let's see, there's a view, of course, an outside balcony. And then if you go through here, here's another small bedroom with a closet. It's kind of neat. Walk-in closet. And this, of course, would be the roof. I do see another level up there though. Okay, Mel, this is very nice. Yeah, this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And I think it should be more than sufficient. Thank you. This is very nice. Yeah, this is a nice sized kitchen right here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is beautiful.
Yeah, you can move around and then you can all of them. You don't have to say, okay, how small it is.
Yeah, well, for one person, you know,
it's you know, you can work with it. And look at the views.
And then you got a view of San Francisco out in your window here. This is something to be cherished. I am really so proud of our people for doing this and seeing this through, because we have so much that needs to be done in the community that is being done, and to have people like Ms. Scott and Mr. Simmons here on board, along with Mr. Jerry Trotter and just people from Lakeisha Howard and
everybody below.
There was a lot of folks.
All the young people, Leontine, Will, Ariel, CJ. So many J's in CJ. I still get them, but there's PJ, CJ, and DJ.
Hey, we're going to come back and try to talk to all of the J's.
Definitely. So I'm going to introduce you to them, man.
I'm looking forward to meet the J's. All right.
They have to correct me every morning.
That's okay. That'll work. We're getting older. That's our excuse. Let that be the reason. Thank you very much, Bill. Yeah. So this is the last floor, I hope.
We're going through the roof.
We got one more to do. We're going to try the roof. Okay. I was asking Mr. Simmons about the rental agreement. How do these young people pay for their rent?
Well, I'm really not too up on exactly how it's going, but I do know that it's low income. With the type of kids that we're serving are the foster kids, and that there is support for them presently now. So along with that, and I'm sure whatever Pat and Jerry Trott and all of them have come up with, that the kids will be able to live here without being stressed.
That's very good.
And and go to school. What what Booker T is about is to get your education.
There it is. Okay, so you are providing that, and we hope that you're certainly successful and
to go on and do better things for yourself.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, we're moving along. We're going to continue our tour. What are we looking at?
This is the roof, and like I said, they have a area where resting area I call, where you can come up and hang out on the roof and check the view out and just chill. And they have the garden here.
There's an outside garden. Yeah. I don't know how close I can get to that, but anyway, maybe you can see the box out there. That's on the roof of the Booker T Center, the new Booker T Center here in
all four corners of the city. You can see.
Yeah, from that view, Mr. Simmons is telling you can see all four corners. And there's a partial mural right there, but we can't see the whole thing because this is
the floor is
blocked off because of they're doing the floor right now. So, but anyway, we'll be back. We'll be back to see its finished product, and hopefully in the interim also, I wanted to come back maybe next week and do a little follow up and see what we can see then. Okay, all right. Mr. Mel Simmons, our tour guide. Hi, once again, you're watching the Domino Theory television program. My name, of course, is Sonny Francis. And I just want to call your attention to the fact that we recently laid to rest, Mr. Earl Gage, Jr., Earl James Gage, Jr. He passed away on the 30th of July of this month. Mr. Gage was the first Afro-American firefighter in San Francisco. He died at the age of 90, and he was quite a man. Not only was he the first black firefighter in the city and county of San Francisco, he also became a real estate broker after 28 years of service in the fire department. Avid 49ers fan, and this is all, of course, coming from the obituary, but Anyway, we want to give a salute out to Mr. Gage. May he rest in peace, and I'm sure he will. I also want to call your attention to the homeless prenatal program, which is located at 2500 18th Street here in San Francisco in the Mission District, ending childhood poverty one family at a time. That's the homeless prenatal program located on 18th Street, 2500 18th Street in San Francisco. If you need to get in touch with them, you can contact them at 415-546-6756. That's the homeless prenatal program. A lot of stuff to talk about, but I won't. Get back to the show. Thank you, and you're watching the Domino Theory.
Don't vote in your best interest. I don't care what anyone tells you. If your vote does not do something for you, then you are wasting your vote.
Let me ask you a personal question. How, because I had to address this myself, and I think any of us does or should, if we expect to navigate our way through this. How are you, on a personal level, how are you navigating the Trump era? Like every day you wake up and you get another CNN alert that scares the half out of you. I mean, like how are you personally navigating until you get a chance to do something about that? How are you navigating everything?
First thing, I talk to old people, okay? And I talk to old people and have very honest conversations. I don't mean old like we don't need them. I mean old like filled with wisdom. Mm-hmm. My father is just at 61 years old. His wife is Adam the same age. I asked her, what was it like in Louisiana when you were? I've asked Reverend James Orange's wife, so what is it going to be like? And all of them have said the same thing to me. This is far from the worst thing we've been through. I've seen worse mayors, governors, or presidents than this. This ain't the first dumb person that's led a bunch of us. Don't you worry about it. What you need to worry about is worry about your money, worry about yourself, worry about your community. You need to maybe stop watching CNN and Fox every morning and start to watch some Walter E. Williams, start to watch some Thomas Sowell, start to watch some more conservative blacks. And I'm not saying become conservative or Republican, but I'm saying is learn to become financially independent. Learn to make sure that, okay, I'm taking care of my own credit and money. I'm making sure I'm banking black. I'm making sure I deal with small local black businesses or black small and local businesses. I'm making sure I create a network. I'm making sure I own, like if Baltimore now should be owned by rappers and athletes. Rappers and athletes should be dumping as much money as they can into buying Baltimore. Because time DC overfills, you're going to go right into Maryland next, right? We should be buying in the same way people have bought up Detroit. The same way Atlanta's now gentrifying and buying. And more than rappers and athletes, street dudes who managed to make it out, who got a construction company, or own a tow truck company. We have to start to do for ourselves. Those people are telling me that in the Depression, during the depths of depression, they knew communities of blacks that were not failing because some people grew, some people slaughtered animals, some people fished, some people had money to lend to each other like a bank. But if we don't start doing that, then we're going to continue to be the mistress of any political party that we feel will have us. And I'm tired of that position when I know our community is strong enough to be self-sustained.
And a lot of those black folks you just referenced did not give up their guns.
I'm never
which takes me full circle.
Yeah.
Donald Trump just gave a speech a few weeks ago, to the NRA.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about the 50th anniversary of the Black Panthers taking over the state capitol here and getting into a tete-a-tete with then Governor Reagan about the right to carry. What do you say to black folk about their guns in 2017?
Google Robert F. Williams. He was the person that inspired the Panthers even become Panthers. He was a black Marxist. He was in the 50s. He was a person that the NRA gave a charter to in North Carolina so that blacks could defend themselves. Later, those blacks became people like the Deacons of Defense. He also sold them ammunition when they couldn't buy ammunition locally. The NRA did. So the NRA has a value to me. My father's been a member. I am a member. I think my father might be lifetime. I'm a member. It has had a value to me my entire life. My entire life, my fathers and uncles have been members of the NRA. I am personally think that 1 million black men this week should go online and just get a year's membership and see how you like it. They didn't hold that thing in Atlanta for nothing. They could have held it in Minnesota. They could have held it in Oklahoma. They could have held it in North Texas. They held it in Atlanta because they really don't have a problem with you having guns. And I was talking to Colin North.
You believe it?
Absolutely, I do.
I'm not sure I buy that.
You don't have to buy it.
I agree with everything you say.
You don't.
I'm not sure. Here's my point. If we want to do something about the gun control issue in this country, give every Negro a gun in America, that problem goes away.
But Let's do it then. Let's test the theory.
I'm all for it.
Let's see.
I'm all
Tavis
for it.
and I want 1 million men.
But that's not
to join.
because they want us to have it.
No. I didn't say they want us to have it. They don't want us to not have it.
Okay.
As long as they have their rights, if you get your rights to the sideline, cool.
Okay.
White men don't want to give up their guns, and I'm with that. If you don't want to give up your guns and I have that right, not privilege, but I have that right too, then I'm standing on your side of the room when they say who's for guns. Simple that. You don't have to be my friend to be my ally. But if you're going to pretend my friend, then you got to vote with me. That's for my white Democrats and progressives. But if we're not going to be pretend friends, we just going to be allies, let's make sure that 1 million black men join the NRA. Let's show up on the floor of the NRA like Maj does. Let's show up like the NRA spokesman, my man Colin Noor, who says that, Michael, part of the problem is every time guns are described in reference to black people, they talk about gangs and drugs. And that's unfair and that's wrong. Most gun owners that I know, whether it's 10 people to my left or my right, are responsible home-owning black men with families who own rifles and handguns. They own rifles because they hunt for sport. They own handguns to protect themselves. They have a shotgun in the house to protect their wife and children. That's most of the guys I know. We need to normalize that. People need to see Tavis at a shooting range. People need to see Dr. Cornel West trying to get off a Uzi at the range. You know what I mean? Yeah. But what we cannot have anymore is that when guns are talked about, we go silent and shrug in a corner. We allow somehow our moms and aunties and sisters to only talk about guns. And I'm encouraging more women to shoot too. Like I think they're the Pink Panthers or the Pandas, a group of black women that are shooting. We need these service people that are coming home to form shooting clubs. And they're saying, hey, they're coming to kill us. This is because guns get accidentally picked up by children. Your children should know how to, first of all, walk away from a gun if they see one. But by the time your boy's 12, 13, 14 years old, he should have been to the range and should know how to load and unload a pistol. We need to be cognizant that these rights are not everywhere. I was in London 3 years ago, and I got one question from all the black kids. Do you know Gucci Man? And part B to that question, can you own a gun for real?
Yeah.
So if the brothers and sisters in South Sudan want AK-47s to protect their rights and freedoms, I think we'd be remiss not to enjoy those rights and freedoms.
glass of water, that would be super, super awesome.
the end of the summer of 1964, most of the teenagers were dancing in the street and they wanted Martha and the Vandellas singing it to them. At least that's the way it was on American Bandstand. Kids of all colors started hitting the record stores. From Motown acts alone, they had 42 hits from which to choose. And that also created a little confusion. There were certain areas that wouldn't stock an album with a black face on the cover. So Motown very often had pictures of other things on their albums. There was even an LP with two blonde lovers on the cover of an Isley Brothers album. But the kids persevered and they found Mary and Marvin and Stevie and Smokey and the Four Tops and the Temptations and a song from a trio of young girls that asked the musical question. Of the civil rights movement helped set the tone for even wider acceptance. White radio, big-time radio, began playing Motown hits, not because of the color of the artist, but because the music was good.